Hey guys, this is Carrie, and in this video we're going to be looking at something called type conversion in Python. So our first file, I've already got it set up, typeconversion1.py. I'm going to use this file to show you what the issue is. So let's say that we have a simple program where we type in our birth year, which is 1987 for me, and then we print out you were born in the year, and then to that we'll add on whatever year they were born in. So I'm going to save the file. And now let's run it to see what the issue is. So Python 3 space, drag the file over, got the $sign prompt, we're all good, press enter, and it actually gives us a really nice error here. It says in the traceback that the error is in line 2, which is this, in case we didn't have the code right up in front of us, and then the type error is that it can't convert an integer object to a string implicitly. And what that means is that we're actually, in this line of code, line 2, we're actually adding a string object and an integer object. And so Python doesn't know how to add those two things. It knows how to add a string to a string, but it doesn't know how to add a string to a number. So there's an easy fix for this, which is we might want to take that year that we typed in, which is being read as a number right now, and turn it into a string. So one way to do it is to just put quotes around it. However, for a variety of reasons, you might not be able to do this midway through the code. So to turn the number into a string, what you can do is you can say print print you were born in the year, and then you can take the year, which is a number here, and turn it into a string by typing str with parentheses around year. And what that will do is it will say take you were born in the year and then add it to the string version of this number. Of course, the string version of this number is just 1987, but rather than having to type it in quotes, we can use this function to turn year into a string, to convert year into a string. So let's save it and rerun our code. So now it has no problem, because it's taking a string, you were born in the year, and adding it to another string, which is the string version of year. So you might think that this is a kind of contrived case and doesn't maybe come up that often. But even though this is a contrived case, it comes up all the time in actual programming. So let's take a look at an example where it comes up a number of times in real life. So I'm going to make a new file. I'll save this as typeconversion2.py. So in this one, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be asking the user for two numbers, and I'm going to be adding those two numbers. So to get those numbers, I'll say x is equal to input. Please type in a number, space, and that will give them a space before they type in their number. Whatever number they'll type in, it'll get stored in x. Y is equal to input. Please type in another number, space. And then finally we'll finish by printing out, actually, before we print out anything, let's actually compute the result when we add these numbers. So if I type in sum, it actually highlights sum in blue, which means sum is a keyword already used in the Python language. So I'm going to instead use the word result is equal to whatever number they gave us first plus whatever number they gave us second. Now I'm going to print out the sum of your two numbers is, and then in order to make the result appear here, I have to add the result to the end of this. So let's run this program and see what happens. Python 3 space, drag over the typeconversion2 file, and we press enter. So far so good. Please type in a number, I don't know, 13. Please type in another number, 20. So I'm expecting to get 13 plus 20. The sum of your two numbers is 33 is what I'm expecting. Let's see what happens. The sum of your two numbers is 1,322. So what happened here? I paused for a second because maybe you figured it out, but what it's doing is, instead of adding these two things like numbers, it's adding these two things as if they were strings. So off to the side, what it's doing is it's doing 13, the word 13 like that, plus 20, the word 20 like that. And of course, the way it adds strings is, rather than actually add the digits mathematically, it will take this string and immediately after put the 20, the next string. So that's why 1320 is coming out. So basically what we need to do is we need to tell Python that x and y are not to be treated as strings, they're supposed to be converted to integers. So currently at this point, x is going to be a string, whatever they type in, so something like 13. What I really want to do is I want to say, well, let's redefine x. Let's make x equal to the integer version of x. And this is exactly what we did in the last example when we had str of the number. We were converting that number, whatever we put in here, I don't know, 13, we were converting that number to a string. This will do the opposite. It will convert the word version of x to an integer. All right, let's do the same thing to y. So currently y is a string. Because it's something that the user typed in, it automatically assumes it's a word. However, we want the new version of y to be equal to the integer version of the old y. All right, so let's run this program, and I'm going to simplify things. Instead of having this crazy last statement, I'll put it back in a second. I'm just going to have it print out our result to check to see if it's giving the right thing. So let me save it and rerun it. Please type in the number, 13. Please type in another number, 20. It prints out 33 as expected. So in general with programming, it's helpful to have some words around your answer so if it's not apparent exactly what that answer is. So I'm going to go back and instead of just printing out the result here, instead of printing out the result here, let me put back the old line of code. So let me save it. All right, so this program should run fine, but I don't know, let's see. So actually to give us some more room, let me just quit out of this and clear it. Okay, so I'm going to rerun the program. Please type in a number. I'll type in same numbers, 13. Please type in another number, 20. So last time this worked, let's see what happens. So we get a type error. It says in line 7, the sum of your two numbers is plus result. It can't convert an int object to a string implicitly. So if you remember, this is the same error that we got in type conversion 1.py, the one where we had to convert the year. So think about why we're getting this error for a second. Pause the video. The reason why we're getting this error is the sum of, when we computed this result here, because we were adding an integer, x, we made it an integer, and an integer y, the result itself is an integer. And of course, the reason why we're getting the error in line 7 is we're taking a string and we're adding it to the integer. So what we need to do is one last type conversion. So we need to convert result back to a string. So let's do the string version of result. So now what's going to happen is let's walk through it as we do it. So I saved it. I'm going to clear this and I'm going to rerun the file. So currently when you type in a number 13, when I press enter, it will be a string at the end of line 1. Then what's going to happen is, as soon as I press enter, that 13 is getting plugged into this function, so it's going to make the integer version of 13. And that's going to be the new value of x, the number version. All right, so now we type in a new version, 20. This is going to be a string at first, but then in the next line, it's going to immediately convert that 20 to the integer version of 20 and overwrite the old value of y. So you press enter. And now it says the result was 13 plus 20. So result is an integer, 33. And we're going to print out the sum of your two numbers is, well, if I try to just put 33 here, it's going to have a problem. So what we do is we do the string version of 33 so we can add that to the sentence. So it works. Let's try it one more time. So pick a number, I don't know, 123. Pick another number, 321. The sum of your numbers is 444. So type conversion can be a little bit tricky because it actually requires you to think about in your program whether you're treating something as a number or whether you're treating something as a word. The key ideas that you want to keep in mind are, in order to combine two things, a string, you have to be combining it with another string. In order to work with things as numbers, those things actually have to be numbers. And the last thing you want to keep in mind is whenever you ask for input, it will automatically assume that the thing that the person types in is of type string, not of type number. I hope this video was helpful and introduced the idea of type conversion to you. I'll see you guys in class on Monday.